Okay, everybody, thanks for your patience. Let's go ahead and get started. This is actually the second administrator training webinar that we've done. We thought it'd be a good idea because there's actually quite a bit to this database, and although it's pretty intuitive and we've done a pretty good job on the member help, if you can take 20 minutes out of your day, this might save you a little bit of time down the road. So I've got just a few slides, then we're going to do a quick demo, set up a little bit of time for some Q&A. I've got Paul and Stephanie that are lurking here in the background to make sure I don't mess things up, so they may have some comments as well. But we'll go ahead and just walk through these slides a little bit and then show you kind of a short demo on this. Okay, let's go to our view here. So what we want to do initially is kind of set this up as far as the hierarchy in the system is concerned. And what I'm showing you on this slide is both the business manager and the program manager, but we're looking at this a little bit different as more of administrator roles and responsibilities. So within the system, what you'll see is there's a business manager, a program manager, and callers. But what we're doing here is we're defining more of how I think those roles will fit in to the hierarchy within your company. So we look at the business manager as the person that probably signed up for TSANet. If they're an open group member, they're going to be somebody that carries the voting power as a not-for-profit organization. Every open group member has a vote to vote for the board and any other business they want to bring up. They also somebody that we look towards when it comes to, okay, the renewal notice would go to you if there are any problems like that. And we want them to be the person that kind of sets the strategy for TSANet within the company. So when it comes to using custom groups and doing things like that, we would typically look at the business manager and send information out about that. So kind of managing the overall program. The program manager is someone that's a little bit more at a tactical level. So could probably be an escalation manager or someone like that. They still have administration capabilities. And in fact, the only difference between the program manager and the business manager from a TSANet database perspective is that a business manager can add or delete program managers. A program manager can add or delete callers. But we look at these people to be more at a tactical level when it comes to the use of TSANet. And also even from a little bit on the strategic side on, how would you get a company into a relationship that you may not have with them. So we would look at the program manager. Of course, this varies greatly within the size of the company. So in IBM, for example, they've got multiple program managers. And sometimes in the smaller companies, the business manager is the same as the program manager. But we also want to look over here on the right-hand side, we've got this key user. And the PM, that means that they're also a program manager. So they can have administration capabilities, but within certain companies, especially some of the medium to larger size companies, these are really key people. These are the people that, again, would likely be at a supervisory level, but they're over the callers, and they would be people that make sure that TSANet is always out there, making sure that they know that this is a tool that they can use and things like that. So we'll talk a little bit about how we want to do training and how we can help you do training. These key users become a very key part of that. So we're also looking for them to give input and back up to the business manager, so that overall, from a strategic perspective, the company's utilizing the best and getting the most that they can out of their membership. Okay, but those are kind of the roles that we have within not only within the system, but we also look at it from within your company. Now, a lot of you already know this, but I want to make sure everybody understands how they can get in. Anybody that's an administrator, so those people you saw on the other slide there, are going to typically have individual credentials to get into the TSANet system. We've been utilizing for quite some time now this ability to have a group login. And you see these YouTube links up there. Stephanie's going to send these slides out to everybody that came on this call, so you'll be able to see these. But the group login, and I'll show you how you set this up, is the ability for you don't have to administrate every individual that could have access into the TSANet system. And in fact, you can have multiple group logins if you want to do that. So what happens is you set this up. I'll show you how that's done. And then the caller comes in, they just simply put in their name, their email address, and they're automatically put into the directory. So that's a capability that is widely used amongst our members. Obviously helps on the administration of it. There's also this self-registration thing that has not been widely used, but I want you to be aware that it's there. So if you actually go to the member login area, what you'll see is where you can put in your user ID and your password. You'll also see a request account. And what that does is that will send an email off to typically a program or a business manager within the system saying that someone has requested account. You can actually customize it and parse it down to where it only will accept a request from a particular domain, things like that. So we got some security behind it, but then you are given the ability as a manager of this system to be able to go in and accept that or deny it, and that person is sent their credentials, or they're denied their credentials and they're sent a letter. A lot of it is customizable. We've kind of set it up to sort of a one-size-fits-all when we set this up, but if you want to customize this and use this as a feature, that is certainly a capability within the system. And then again, for the business managers, program managers, they're going to have individual credentials to get into the system. Again, Stephanie will send these slides out with these links on there, so you'll have capabilities to see in that as well. This is probably the biggest thing that we get a request for is the contact document. And again, when I show you the demo, I'll actually go in and show you how to do this. But what's I think important for you to understand is that a contact document, and a lot of companies have multiple contact documents for different relationships, for different companies. You can take and get really granular with these contact documents if you want to. You can, if you want one company to have one path and see one way that they're going to engage you, or another company to see another path, or a group of companies, we can do that for you. The one thing you need to understand is that you cannot create contact documents, you cannot delete contact documents, but you have full capabilities of editing them. So what you do is you need to call us, let us know that you want a contact document set up to do this particular thing. We'll set it up in the system, and then you'll be able to go in and edit that document. But again, what you need to also look at from a contact document perspective here is that it's split up into these sections. Before you call, information that you want that other member company to get about a common customer before you're engaged, and this is actually a series of check boxes and very easy to set up. And then how do you want them to contact you? And we would prefer, kind of from a best practices perspective, for you to have at least two methods in there. It could be phone or email. You know, it could be you're giving them access into a different system or whatever, but we really like to have at least two in case one of them changes and it doesn't work. We'd like to have another one. Also, case exchange is something that can be set up for those of you that are on the case exchange tool. They would just see, you know, initiate case exchange, and it comes up with a form, and that automatically goes into your CRM system or through the member web. And then in the escalation area, this is an area that we want you to fill out. What's really important to me is that whatever you put in there is an escalation path, that it is someone or gets to someone who understands what TSANet is. I get some calls every once in a while from some very frustrated members that use that escalation path, and I went to somebody and they said, I don't even know what TSANet is. So whatever you do in this escalation path, whether it's to a person, which we request in the basic TSANet, or if it's a process, which needs to be 24/7 in the premium TSANet, we want to make sure that it gets to someone that understands what TSANet is and what it's used for. Okay, and again, we're going to go in and show you how these contact documents are edited. The internal notes is something that we added, I think it's been, oh geez, over a year ago. And some companies have really taken advantage of this. And it can be a really neat tool. Again, I'll show you how you do it, but there's several different areas through the decision tree of engaging another member that you can add an internal note. And what this is used for is something that you might want to tell your engineers or a group of engineers about contacting a particular company or in a particular relationship. It's an area where you can go in, you can add a document. Most companies actually just go in there and use it as a text field, but only your engineers will be able to see that. So when they go in, it just kind of helps them, guide them through the path of getting a hold of another company. And this can be especially helpful in custom groups, because you set up that custom group for whatever reason that you want to go in and say, hey, use this relationship when it applies to this, or when it applies to this set of products, something like that. Some companies have gone in and added this for nearly every company in the database, which is an extensive process, but can be really, really helpful for those engineers that want to use it. So again, this is capable of any business and program manager can go in there, and you just go through the decision tree, and as you go through it, you'll see this area down here where it says there's nothing here. Click on that little tool icon, it'll bring up, and you can just add text into it. Again, this is only people within your company that are going to see this. So you don't have to worry about putting something in there and other companies are going to see it. They will not. It'll be only for internal use. Okay, the reporting area, and I've said this for many, many times, important to understand that outside of the case exchange tool, we don't really know if a call was placed from one member to another. What we do know is they went to that contact document. And we've got a pretty elaborate process that we go through to say, yes, we think a call was placed here because another user clicked on it, or they went to the page and they stayed there for a certain amount of time. So you do have the ability of going in under the reporting tab and seeing what companies have viewed your page or clicked on it. Again, it will not necessarily show you that a call was placed, but it is there, and it works on both the outbound as well as the inbound side. But I don't want anybody to use this as for sure that a call was placed, because we don't really know that. A lot of times what companies will do is they'll give out a phone number and maybe a code or something like that. Engineer will write that down on a piece of paper, and they'll never go to the TSANet system. And we want them to, but I can't say for sure that calls were placed and received by using this reporting area. One area that I can tell you is, from an internal perspective, did someone come in and actually log into the member web? And whether they do that from both a user login perspective or even the group logins, where we ask in a group login feature, they put in their name and their email address. Well, we capture that, and you can go in and view that. So what you can do is you can come back and say, well, I know this particular call was placed. Did somebody use TSANet to get a hold of this other company? You can actually go in and see if anybody logged in to do that. And it can be very helpful in understanding what your use is or potential use is for your engineers to get into the TSANet system. And also in this area, we show your contact documents. We like you to go in, and we'll actually show you how long it's been since you reviewed a document, and you can go in and take a look at that. We suggest as a best practice that you go in and review that every 90 days. And obviously, if you want to do it more than that, that's great. But some people have got multiple contact documents, and we want to make sure that the program managers that have the capability of seeing these and editing these documents, that they're also going in and taking care of that. So you can see this within the reporting tab. Okay, and again, this is something that we've really started to concentrate over the last year or so, and Paul's done a super job of putting together some really good materials, and we would be more than happy to help train your folks or retrain them. So we put together what we think is a good program and a good slide deck that you can use, or that you can utilize us to help you. And we've done this a few times now with some of the larger companies. It can be really helpful for us to go in and just help us do the training for you. We realize you guys are busy, you got a lot going on, and that's what we're here to do, is to help you out with that. So again, Stephanie will send this out. It's got these links on here. We've got a pretty good member help section for all this, but we would more than happy to help you with company wide webinars. or even geographic specific or whatever you'd like to do. Take a look at some of the resources that we've got out there. One of the things we also started to do is some co-branding on this. So we make it look like it's yours, and we want to make you look good. So let us help you if you want to do that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me do just a quick demo here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time at this, but I just want to show you what you can do. So what I've done is I've logged in here as a program manager. This particular case is EMC. Again, everybody not familiar with this, this is your My TSANet space. As you go through the decision tree to get a hold of a company, you'll see add this tile to my TSANet space, and it'll automatically put that shortcut up there. What's important to understand about this My TSANet space is when you go to the group login, if you're using your account as the group login, which I'll show you here in a second, it's going to show these tiles. So that's how those are up there. And if you've got, in a bigger company, if you want to have multiple group logins, then that would be why you'd set this up. You want to put shortcuts for a particular group of engineers versus another group of engineers. You can have multiple group logins. Here's the administration tab up here. If you're a program manager or a business manager, you're going to have this capability. You click on that. Here is that group login feature right here. So you can call this whatever you want. This is the URL that you would post internally. And again, whatever tiles you have for your account are going to show up for this one. As far as adding people into the system, under the company tab down here, or the company shortcut, if I go down here to users, this is where I can go in and add a new user. And this is, again, for individual credentials. And this is pretty simple. You just add in the name, email address, right? You give them a password. Depending on your role, you'll either be able to add business manager, or a business manager will be able to add other program managers or callers. And what I do find from time to time is somebody will go in here and add this up, and they'll forget to add the communities. And you can get very specific as to what that caller will actually be able to see. So you can customize it to what relationships you want them to see. Maybe you've got just one custom group, then you don't want to mess with anything else. You want them only to see that custom group. You can set that up to where that individual will only see that particular relationship. Okay, but you need to add something in there, otherwise you put somebody into the system and they won't be able to see anything. Okay, that's under the company tab. What I'm also going to show you here is under administration, also contact documents. And in this case, I pulled up one where there's quite a few contact documents. I'm going to pick one particular contact document here. And you can see here, this is where you would go in and edit it. Now, what's important to note here is this is the name of the contact document. It's basically more of an internal thing. If you want to put a description, you can do that as well. The Special Escalation Manager, I'll show you where that comes into play, is that down here at the bottom of every contact document is this submit feedback. If whoever is selected here, if someone submits feedback, they're going to get an email. So that's what the Special Escalation Manager does, and be aware of that. The contact document, to edit it, is actually pretty easy, and I show you down here. This is the preview section, and you just simply go down here. You can select support hours. The applies to is something that we actually do, but it will show you what we've done. So you can have one contact document apply to one relationship and another one apply to another, that kind of thing. Well, really, these three areas, number 4, 5, and 6, contact preparation is pretty easy. I said it was a series of check boxes. If I were to check another box here, that would automatically show up down here in this area right here. So it lets you see what it looks like. You can also add a requirement. You can make it optional or required. Contact information, again, place a call. You've got options here for different methods to do that. This is actually a cascading thing where you can put in an optional label, click here, and it'll show them more information. But it's basically a free text area where you can put stuff in. And we've got some things down here, and you can add up to 3 different methods to do that. And then again, here's your escalation area down here. And it's always a free text area. And then obviously save and approve automatically puts that into effect. Okay? So that's really all I wanted to do in this. I've actually taken up a little bit more time than I thought. Let me open this up to Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? And let me also open this up to Paul and Stephanie. Any comments that you wanted to say? Anything I didn't cover that you wanted me to?
At least from my side, covered everything really well. I think the only thing I would just re-stress is the co-branded training. So we've been pretty successful at delivering that, and that's something that we do then record, make that available to you to post in your intranet so that you can use it for kind of ongoing training and refresher stuff as well. It tends to be about a 7 to 10 minute training thing, so it's not the type of thing where your engineers need to spend a half an hour on it. It's a very short and to the point training.
Okay, I don't have any questions, and that's not atypical because it's a pretty straightforward kind of thing. Again, Stephanie's going to get these slides out to you. We've recorded this, and we'll also provide a link that if you want other people to view this within your company, we'll provide that link for you as well. Okay, so we give you about 5 minutes left of the half hour. I want to again thank everybody. We had a lot of people on this call. Thank you so much for showing up. We really appreciate your time. Take care, everybody.